Co-main event, Robert Whittaker against Marvin Vettori. Whittaker, obviously the former champion, and his record's different from UFC stats. I noticed this when we were doing the War Room. So on UFC stats, he's 14-6. On everything else, on UFC stats, he's 24-6, and on everything else, he's 23-6.
Do you know what that?
I don't know. I haven't located the one weird one, but 23-6 seems consistent. I'll be interested to see what the UFC use. It was the same on another fighter the other day. They counted an additional win, and I don't know if it's something to do with the Ultimate Fighter. I don't know whether they count one of those fights as a fight when it's actually not counted on his official record, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Anyway, so Robert Whittaker, both 6 foot, 1 inch reach advantage for Vettori, Southpaw v Orthodox. Both have a decent striking output, leans towards Whittaker, but Vettori is the one that's more accurate. Pretty much the same striking defense, 60 to 59%. Takedown defense is better for Rob Whittaker, but takedown accuracy is better for Vettori. Quite an evenly matched one on the stats. I mean, I've just recorded a War Room for it, although my head was all over the place because I've been researching Nate and against Chimaev for 3 days. I feel like this might be a different fight if it was over 25 minutes. I feel like 15 minutes, I feel like he's good enough at staying away from power punches, and I don't think Vettori is smart enough or slick enough to outthink him.
Okay.
So therefore, I feel like Rob's going to be able to kind of move away and tag him and walk him onto stuff. And when he gets too close, he's going to clinch him and wrestle him and turn him against the fence, break an elbow and move away, set him up for that high kick that he caught Jacare and Brunson with.
Yeah. Well, one of his teammates, Jaden Lawrence, in that Commonwealth thing that we were at in Birmingham, well, I think he received bronze in wrestling, which you think that's someone that he's training with that can help him prepare for someone like Marvin Vettori. Yeah, they were due to fight in UFC 275 in Singapore, and then Whittaker pulled out because of an injury, which is the thing that always gets everybody like, about Whittaker because of the constant injuries, or it's just always something that keeps him from.
Well, that was Yoel Romero that started that problem. I mean, he was doing all right until the Romero fight, and then
I was live for that fight. That fight like changed my life, and we're seeing it just be like, whoa! It's incredible.
I think you have to be particularly slick to be able to beat Robert Whittaker, and I think Vettori over 3 rounds is not going to be able to put the kind of pressure on he would need to get to Whittaker. And I think Whittaker's going to struggle to stop Vettori unless he hits him with a kick or takes him down and beats him up and subs him. But I think that's going to be really difficult to do. Like, Vettori's never been stopped.
Yeah. Didn't you tell me one time, I think you were coming back from Abu Dhabi, and you told me that Robert Whittaker was put on his gi and he was training a lot of gi before. Yeah, well, when he lost his belt, he took a bunch of time out. So after he lost his belt to Whittaker, he just kind of lost interest for a little while, and I vaguely remember he told me a story about running up sand dunes and being like, I'm over this. And he took a bunch of time off. He was like sitting playing video games and stuff and not really doing anything. And he was invited back to jiu-jitsu, gi jiu-jitsu, and that was kind of what got him back into training. Like, he started to enjoy the process of learning gi jiu-jitsu, and then that started to move towards MMA. And like, you look at his last few fights, like, he's landed more takedowns in his last few fights. He's not always scored the takedowns he's gone for, but he's always been hustling for them. And I think that on top of that, there is jiu-jitsu, but I think it will come off the back of confidence with wrestling. Like, he's got subs on his record, but they're back like way before his UFC career started, like 2011. Yeah, but doesn't Marvin as well, majority of his submission, because he's known as a grappler submission, but a lot of his fights are standing, and a lot of his submissions are before the UFC. He's got 9
submissions, but 2 of them are in the UFC.
Yeah.
A guillotine and a rear naked choke. So like,
one versus Carl Robertson, right?
Yeah, that's the rear naked choke, and then the guillotine was Uda, Alberto Uda. I think he's got good grappling skills, But I think he'll be feeling that he's got better grappling skills than Whittaker, and I think that could be a mistake. Because he might feel as long as he can keep the fight on the feet, that he'll be okay. And I think he won't be too concerned if it hits the floor, if that makes sense. I think this is why I could see Whittaker maybe taking his back, because he did take Gastelum's back for a moment, and he did take Izzy's back for a second. And I can imagine Vettori being a little bit too hard-headed to jiu-jitsu his way out and do a proper get-up, not respect Robert's ground game, and have his back taken.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I go back to the same thing. I don't, over 3 rounds, I just don't think that Vettori can put enough pressure on Rob Whittaker to do that. And I don't think Whittaker's going to be able to beat him up enough to stop him in 3 rounds. Yeah. I think we're going to get a decision, and I think Whittaker will probably take it.
Well, on an interview that I saw from Robert Whittaker, he was like, well, Marvin Vettori is a double-edged sword because he's very hittable. And if you can keep the distance and tagging him, you can win the fight. But it's also one of his strengths because he's so durable. So if you can't keep the pace...
Hang on. So durable or so adorable?
No, durable.
Okay, I was just checking. It did sound like adorable, didn't it? That's why Jamie laughed. I was like, maybe I just heard that, and then I heard Jamie laugh.
Q-tips. Q-tip it up.
Okay, so Marvin Vettori's adorable.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, what? Oh, you fucker.
Carry on.
All right, so...
He's easy to hit in the head because he's so...
I'm just trying to read this quote, man. Let me get through it.
I'm just recapping what you've already said.
Okay. Keeps the pace, or it... forget it.
Gets hit in the head a lot, but he is durable. But that's a double-edged sword because you don't want to punch him because he's adorable. So that's close to what you said, right?
No,
something along the line. Yeah. No. I understand what you're saying because
he can take you down and make it a dog fight. That's the end of it. There we go. Jamie, please clip all this nonsense out. Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. What Robert Whittaker's only loss in middleweight is to Izzy.
Yes.
Which is crazy. They both have 2 losses over Izzy as well.
Yes. Yeah. But then hasn't Vettori got a loss to, like, what's his name? Yeah, Shoeface. Shoeface, Antonio Carlos Jr. and a draw against Amari Akhmedov.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I just feel like I always kind of find myself siding with the person I feel like is the better martial artist. And I appreciate what Vettori can potentially do, but I feel like what he could potentially do is more effective over 5 rounds than over 3. Like, remember what he did to Jack Hermansson? Like, it wasn't until later into the 3rd and 4th where it seemed like Jack Hermansson had had enough. Yeah. And he's not going to be able to put Rob Whittaker there in 15 minutes, I don't think.
So you don't think Marvin might feel a little bit more confident after fighting Paulo Costa at a higher weight class? Because you took him on at 205. He was like, yeah, weigh what you want.
Yeah, but I think he'd do that with anybody. I think he's a bit of an orc. It's kind of his mentality. And he is, though, isn't he? I mean, he's a bit kind of...
He's an adorable orc.
He's an adorable orc. He's an adorkable. He is a little bit kind of... like, there's this unreasonable confidence that comes with him. And I think that's one of the reasons why he's so tough and durable. And one of the strengths that he had over Costa... Because, like, I got a bunch of shit because on the War Room the other day. Because I said that Costa looked like shit against Marvin Vettori, and everyone was like, oh, yeah, but he did still throw punches and have abs. I'm like, look, he still looks shit. Like, I watched that fight again today. He looked shit. I'll stand by it. He looked like a sack of wine is what it looked like. I know he was probably injured and he couldn't train properly or whatever. I'm not particularly a fan of him, and I think he looked like shit. And I think Vettori coming in ready to fight at middleweight, it was moved to a catchweight, and then it was moved to light heavyweight, and Paulo Costa still had to cut to light heavyweight, and Vettori still pushed a pace and still took his best shots. And the thing that makes Paulo Costa dangerous is that he throws volume, because he's not a power puncher either like Vettori. It's I'm going to hit you with 10, 15 strikes before you crumble. Because he didn't have that pace, like, that was one of the main things that Paulo Costa brings to the table, just off the table. And Vettori was walking through shit, like the body kicks, the head kick. Like that's why it's got to be Whittaker throwing head kicks to put him down, because he's not going to put him down with a punch.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the fight, Marvin was like, "Oh, he kicks hard," Like,
yeah. Still walk through it though.
Yeah. No. But what I'm saying is, what stood out to him the most was how hard Paulo Costa kicked. So if Robert Whittaker's like, "Oh, so you don't like kicks? Let me give you some."
The difference with the two is that Whittaker's kick is sneakier. It's more of a snap turning kick, like a Hapkido style. And it couples really well with his punches. So it'd be easy for him to kind of sneak it in, like Vettori's taking a couple of punches and then all of a sudden there's a foot at the side of his face. Whereas one of the things with Costa is that you can see him winding up. So to an extent you can ride those kicks a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes sense.
I think Whittaker's just a bit sharper. I mean, I am looking forward to this one genuinely, but I also do wish it was over 5 rounds, because that's really how you're going to separate these two.
Yeah. Yeah, Robert Whittaker says he's never heard Marvin Vettori talk.
Is that right?
Yeah, he says when he speaks, I just tune him out.
What the fuck, bro?
Right my balls.
That was right about balls.
That's probably one of my favorite quotes. You know what's funny?
I don't know what Marvin Vettori sounds like now. I just know that he sounds like me doing that impression of him.
There was this thing where Alex...
And bright shirts.
Oh no, this changed the name.
Oh,
Autocorrect.
No. Oh no.
Now I'm going to have to try and say the name without reading what that says. But more so, Alex, he just fought as well.
Against who?
Whatever. It was Alex, and it was in Florida.
Right.
And he had given him his extra cup because Marvin forgot his. So he brought an extra one and he gave it to him. And then Marvin tried to give him back and he was like, "No, dude.
No, you can keep it."
Yeah.
That's not a loan. Okay, which way are you going? You're not made a pick.
I'm going to go with Whittaker.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Kind of sounds like you want Marvin to win. Is it because he's adorable?
You're such an idiot.
What the fuck, bro?
No, because like, I don't know. Like, I've never spoken to Whittaker and I've had a conversation with Marvin, so that are automatically like if one of the fighters likes a post of mine,
so
I'm more
Whittaker's...
likely to go for it. Like if Whittaker would like follow me.
So Whittaker's more mysterious, which is why you're picking him. You spoke to Marvin and you know him, so you know he's not going to win.
No, that's not what I said. That's why I'm like I'm more keen for him to win.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you think Whittaker's going to win, but you want Marvin Vettori to win because you know him.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
But at least you're being honest.
Yeah, well, I can't really help it.
So you're picking Cyril to win the main event, then, are you?
Yeah, I am picking Cyril to win the main event. Yes.
Okay. But is that because you actually think he's going to win and you want him to win?
You know what? I think Robert Whittaker and Tai Tuivasa are both really cool.
And if they follow you, that'd be really cool as well.
Are you kidding me? I saw Robert fight Joel Romero. Like, that was crazy. Actually, Marvin was there.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I picked Robert for...
Pick Robert. Okay.
Yeah.
Reluctantly.
Right. Yeah.
Reluctantly.
Not too much. Like, Robert, you have a chance to make me go more. No, Marvin's giving me an interview as well.
Right.
And he's always like keen to, I'm gonna stick with my boy.
Right, okay. You going with Marvin now? Are you changing your mind?
Oh, no way.
Oh my God.
No, like
Jamie's
like
going to have to keep removing this stamp and putting it back and removing it and putting it back.
No, leave it on Robert.
Okay.
But my prayers are for Marvin.
Your prayers are for Marvin. Yeah.
What people say.
You've been listening to too much Gangster's Paradise.
Yeah, I think so.